hello, hello.
Well, hi there. Sorry, I have to do that awkward moment where I make sure I can be heard. I can be heard.
I mean, I can hear you. Whether they can hear you is another story for another day, but.
That's what we're talking about here. I don't care whether or not you hear me. I really only care about the fans.
Well, if you're going to be promoting Crystal Skull, I think it's important to have you muted.
Excuse me. I don't need to promote Crystal Skull. It's like a multi-billion dollar film.
It
Like, it
just.
doesn't need me.
It just promotes itself.
Yeah, by existing, it is promoted. Apologies, everybody. I'm looking down at my phone at the moment because I'm hurriedly putting together a poll for later in the stream. But I promise I am paying full attention. I'm just not looking at you.
We're all judging. We all judge here,
I
guys.
know, right? Well, and that dead air really killed me. Like that dead air
No, we'll wait.
really.
It's no problem. No, whenever you're ready,
Well, it's not my
we'll
fault
just hear.
SurveyMonkey is saying like, "Hey, I need you to verify your email, bro." Even though I've had an account for like 18 years, I
You
feel
are.
like.
You're not a robot, right? Please choose which one is a bicycle. And then you have like the
All
one
I'm
picture.
saying is I could retro recall how many surveys I've made with this website. They should not need to verify me any
You
further.
should
That's
verify
all.
it. I don't.
That's that that made no sense.
I know. Just go with it. Here, we don't have to make sense when we recall things at Retro Recall.
No, in fact, I refuse. I patently refuse to recall anything tonight.
I recall. I refuse to recall the movie we're about to talk about, but we
Well,
have
to be
to.
fair, you have literally been saying that over and over. I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room before we begin this discussion.
There's no
I don't
elephant,
think
only
you're
skull.
coming I don't think you're coming from a fair place to this discussion. Now, I am not asking for like film school critical here, because like nobody needs that.
You don't even have to go to film school to know that that was not a very good movie. You just had to be in the movie theater and say, well, look at that. When was the last
Look,
one made? 1990? 1989? And it was, what,
yeah, I think so.
18, 19 years? And that's what came out? Oh, wait. Yeah.
Again, again,
That's what we
again,
waited for.
again, it is in no way a perfect Indiana Jones film. I
They
never said that it was.
make Jar Jar Binks look like, just, I don't know, they make him
No,
look
please
like.
go on.
That's how bad
With
the swinging scene was.
all right. You know what? Let's just
Let's
dive
just
right
go.
in,
Let's just go
shall we?
into it. Let's just.
Let's let's
Let's just here.
let's let's
Let's do
just
it. Let's do it.
get right
What?
there.
We
So
are. Yes.
so
Yes.
so
Yes.
you watched it this week, right?
I watched parts of it because then I realized.
Hmm.
So hear me out. So this is what happened.
Mhm.
I wanted to watch it. I couldn't find
Oh,
it.
sure.
I didn't really want
Desperately
to.
wanted to watch it. Didn't want to load up Paramount Plus.
Well, I don't have Paramount Plus, and I thought it was going to stream on Disney, but apparently, things on the back end, Paramount versus Lucasfilms, all whatever. So they're not there. And then I looked on like Hulu and all these other places, all other streaming services, and I guess you
Sure.
can rent it. And to rent it was like $7, and I refused to give that movie any more of my money. Because I gave them $1 when I rented it from Redbox, and I'm not doing it again. They're not getting any more of my money.
So did you never see this movie in theaters?
No, I chose to watch this with the DVD from Redbox, and I sat through it on my couch in horror.
Huh. Huh. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I may be wrong. You came to me to the, or came with me to that like full Indiana Jones marathon, right? Like we went to a marathon, like a group of us all went to like a like
I don't think I went to.
before Crystal Skull. It wasn't Crystal Skull though. It was just the first
I don't
three.
think I went to a marathon.
I thought you were there with us.
No.
It was like in our
Sounds
our
fun. What?
group of people.
Well, that would have been fun Where was my invite?
Stop. I sent it.
I probably said no. I probably was like, I have something else going on.
I'm busy.
I probably just don't want to watch Temple of Doom, but then I didn't realize there was so much worse out there.
All right, all right. You know what? We said we were going to dive right into it,
We're
and we
doing this.
didn't then dive right into it. So let's just
We're
dive
let's just
right in.
swimming in the shallow end for a little bit. That's all.
Sure, sure. So, you absolutely abhor this film, but you have only seen it
Yes.
one time, with then a smattering of scenes later.
Yes. Thank you, YouTube. Absolutely.
And you think that that is an adequate place to stand when someone comes to you in a debate saying, I believe firmly that this film is better than you remember.
It's one of those here. It's one of those
Mhm.
things where I feel like everyone agrees, not just like America, but the entire world. Like, hating this movie is what brings people together. You know, there's a lot of wars, politics, religion, but this is what's going to bring the world together. How bad this
Sure.
movie is. That is,
Sure.
it's the least successful, like the least favorite one out of the four that I refuse to even acknowledge as a movie or part of the trilogy.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
trilogy.
it's not part.
There, I said
It's
that.
it's
Trilogy. That's all it is. Three movies. Doesn't even exist. I don't know why
you're
we're here.
correct. It it is.
Doesn't
It's not
exist.
part. It's not part of the trilogy. You're right.
There is no
There's a
fourth
fourth
movie.
film that is creating its own thing. All right, all right, all right. Let me, instead of letting you continue on this rabbit hole that you're going down, let me tell you about some of the reasons I absolutely love Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Some of the things that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull got 100% right about being an Indiana Jones movie. Not even going to talk about Temple of Doom. I'm just going to talk about what they got right.
That's fine.
As you can see, by the way, I have no shoulders now thanks to Leather Jacket. While I make these points, I'm going to awkwardly place this hat on my head that the green screen's going to take off and I'm going to disappear. But
Okay.
it makes me an authority, and you'll know that. Nope, I'm
You
gone.
disappeared. You're gone.
You know what? Hats off. That's for the Harry Potter one. All right. So, first, my biggest point. The reason I think I love this film more than, well, not more than Last Crusade, but an element of Last Crusade. There is an element to this film that I think is better than Last Crusade, which is they brought Marion Ravenwood back. Marion
Okay.
Ravenwood is an age-appropriate female love interest for Dr. Jones. And on top of that, she was proven not to be a damsel in distress in Raiders and continued not to be in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Even when like shit was going like into the fire, it didn't really matter. She was protecting her son, right? Like she didn't care. She was on task. So like Marion Ravenwood being back absolutely to me scores huge points for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because she is just a spectacular character in the Indiana Jones universe. Second, and this is from a film standpoint, even though the CGI often gets crapped on, because like let's be honest, the gopher or groundhog at
They
the
were
beginning
obsessed with
is
those.
that was weird, and like I don't understand why that was there. And like the monkey tree swinging scene, like yeah, obviously all of that was weird. Even like look, even the ants, which I will argue was still a cool creepy crawler scene for this Indiana
Right.
Jones film, the CGI was crappy, but like everything else was still practical effects. That was still Harrison Ford doing his own stunts, or at least like I think it was 90% of his own stunts. Like they Steven Spielberg went to the lengths of like specifically making sure that the cinematographers on this film studied exclusively the Indiana Jones trilogy so that they understood the look, the feel, and everything that it needed to be because he wanted it to still be a built world and not just this computer generated mess that it really could have been. Um, and then the the final point I'll make And this is it in the like just full defense category. Everything else I think will be pretty debatable. Um, but the final note, Kate Blanchett was fucking awesome. Like, yes, her ultimate motivation and like the outcome of her character may have been kind of wasted, but like, what a good indie like um just antagonist, because she wasn't it's kind of it's very much like what's his name from the first from Raiders,
Oh, the
the
Nazi dude. I forget
Belloc.
it. Yeah. Or
Belloc, his
yeah,
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
archaeologist who's working with the Nazis. She's very much a Belloc. She's working for the USSR, but she doesn't care about the politics. She's out for her own knowledge. She is just like Indiana Jones, except that she doesn't necessarily think it needs to go into a museum. She just wants to be the one to find it and learn it first. Um, and so, like, to me, great character and like very malicious, even though her accent was a bit heavy. It was a bit
It
much.
was it.
It was a bit
It
much.
wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good, but there's one thing that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has far, far less of than Temple of Doom. And that, to me, is what makes it so much better, which is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull lacks all of that Temple of Doom racism.
Okay, that is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's ultimately where that's the problem for me with Temple of Doom rewatching it is it's hard to see past how
yes.
narrow it is and in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like
It's very
in ways that they didn't
stereotypical.
have to be. They made Nazis look more civilized than like a lot of the people in
Hmm.
Temple of Doom, and like that's problematic. Sorry, I
Yeah.
was too hot for the leather jacket.
All
Hopefully, we don't have to mark this stream as mature because I was stripping
right.
on air. Um,
This is a mature stream. Sorry, guys.
Also,
Yeah.
short round. I hate to say that because I love short round, but problematic.
Yes. Okay. Based off that, yeah, then I guess Crystal Skull gets an automatic. But maybe the essence of Indiana Jones himself was totally lost in Crystal Skull.
Why would you say that?
I feel
I
like
want to know
I
why.
feel like they made him because when he was older, I felt like they made him more of a butt of a joke than just him being like Indiana Jones, like badass. It's just like old man Indy every couple of seconds.
But I feel like so. I think this is what I think has happened, and I wonder if it's subtle enough that maybe it's just not noticed. But I think one of the things that Harrison Ford has lost with age is like that smug charm.
Hmm.
He's still got that raw charisma. He's still a person that when he walks into a room, like everybody's watching. But I think he's kind of lost that like imp touch that he used to have at like in his younger films because like I can see why you would say he felt like the butt of the jokes in a lot of these because like there was a lot of slapsticky stuff. But think
Yeah.
about Raiders. Think about Raiders when he's fist fighting the German. Like the only reason he wins is because he trips over a cord at the right moment and the other guy gets blasted by a propeller. Like Indy has always been the hero who also is full of like dry humor and getting like beat the hell out of. Like he is not a superhero. He is more of a fuck up than I think he is like a success. Truly, I think most of Indiana Jones's adventures are failures that compound their way into a massive success.
Well, have you ever seen that show, The Big Bang Theory, and
I have.
specifically the episode they talk about Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It has been long enough since I've watched that show that no, please go on.
Basically, the concept of what's her name, Amy Fairfowler, was like, oh, this is a really good movie, but what was the point of Indiana Jones? The Nazis would have died anyways as soon as
Yep.
they got to the. If anything, he just helped them get there quicker to the end. But really, you didn't need Indiana Jones, and the guys' faces are just like, it's true.
Yeah, literally if he had just done nothing, but he did he didn't actually believe in anything happening. So to Indy, he was just going after the gold box. Indy never believes in the stuff that he's going
No.
up against. Like
I think by the third, fourth movie, he'd probably believe in it, but no, no.
actually, I think Crystal Skull might be one of the only movies where he kind of is like a little bought in earlier on,
After
but
all,
only because his mentor has been studying it for so long. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like it's been 20 years. I guess this could be believable, but
Mhm.
I just can't get over kind of going back to the CGI. It was just terrible. It was, and it was terrible, and I hate it because Steven Spielberg has the ability to do well. He did well with Minority Report. He used CGI flawlessly. Even I think he did War of the Worlds too, the remake that came out in 2005 right before. So it's like you can do it well, but it was just so campy and cheesy and just but and there you
yeah,
can have campy, you can have cheesy, you can make it
sure.
fun, but it was just done in such a way that it was just like, come on, man, I know you could do better. I've seen you do better. And again, it just Shia LaBeouf swinging through the frickin' trees like
One of my favorite God, I can't remember what it was an interview for or what it was in relation to, but it was an interview with George Lucas after it was an interview with George Lucas and with Steven Spielberg after this movie came out. And basically like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg is trying to be very diplomatic about the script writing process. Like he's like, yeah, there was obviously a lot of debate around like aliens. There was debate about this. Like
yes.
we were really like blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But like Steven kept it diplomatic, and it like cuts back to George Lucas, and he's basically like, oh, yeah, is that what Steven said? No, I mean it was a lot of it was my idea, and I own that. And the thing that the story he told, and I think this is perfect retrospect kind of moment,
Mhm.
was there was debate about Indy in the fridge, right?
That
The
yes.
the fridge scene was hotly debated in the writers' room, which, like, admittedly, yes, Indiana Jones, all of his bones should have been broken. And he should
Yeah.
have been basically a flesh puddle within
Yeah.
that fridge. I totally get that. But it's also an Indiana Jones film, so like there's his superhero side, his indestructible side, the cartoon of
I
it
mean,
all.
we've seen him in tough situations, but that was probably the most ridiculous one. He should have had his neck
Sure,
snapped in there. There's
sure,
he,
absolutely. No,
especially
bar
especially
too high.
old man Indy too. Okay, I mean he
Absolutely.
should have
No,
had. He's probably on his third hip replacement before this. I don't know.
look, again, I'm with you. I am with you that the bar was way too high on that action
That's
stunt. It wasn't right.
we need to just skip that scene altogether. Just forget the whole nuke thing. Let's just.
No,
So,
but so and this is the point. Hold on. So George Lucas was making the point that and he came into that argument with all this research about how the lead refrigerators of the 1950s really could have withstood a nuclear blast, and hypothetically, someone inside of it would be shielded from radiation. And he went through this whole thing, and basically at the end of it, he goes, and I realize now that if I needed to present all of that in order to get the writers of the film to believe me, that like I was not going to be able to ever get audiences to believe me. And so like he even realized that like that just wasn't right.
mhm.
But what I love about that scene is like that fucking nuke town, like that town itself, when he actually is running through it, that's great. The
Yeah.
nuke itself shouldn't have gone off. It should have been the sirens going off, the
Yeah,
threat of something, but like,
because
yeah, the actual nuke town was that was Steven Spielberg like peak kind of stuff.
I mean that was it was good. It really did kind of freak you out. It did build the suspense pretty well. Like how is Indy gonna get out of this? T minus 10 seconds. You know, like you're like how the this is it. So the it was well built. The suspense was great. It just kind of fell apart real quick, real fast. Like
The resolution was lacking,
it was just
to say the least.
you know yeah it was just yeah kind of you're just kind of like what
That's
the What the?
That's what I genuinely think the problem with Crystal Skull is altogether, is
Everything is.
every thread, the resolution is lacking. The only thread that ties off perfectly is the Marion and Indy story.
Oh, yeah,
Right? Like their
that was a
their
saving
love
grace.
story is perfect.
That was their saving grace. I feel like that, and again, that was exciting. It had been like 18, 19 years since the last film. When did the first one come out? 1984? 83? So,
83?
guys, I can't do math. But we're talking like 5 years?
20 some odd years.
Yeah. So it's like, that's
Many
really
years.
exciting. She was probably, I think we
Many
could say Marion
moons.
was like the ultimate favorite female companion of Indy. So that was
Well, 'cause
literally the saving
What
grace.
are you going to compare her against? Willie? Come on. Or, I'm sorry,
Oh, no,
Willie
yeah,
or the
Elsa.
Nazi?
What was her name? Elsa, was it? Yeah, in the third one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think Elsa.
I mean,
Hmm.
it gets worse
Who do
every
I want?
movie. Willie?
Who do I
Oh,
want?
that's rough.
Willie, who is just like screaming every 3 seconds, or the Nazi?
But it's a little questionable in Raiders when she was like, I was just a child. I was a young girl. It's kind of like, Indy. I gotta get a backstory on this one. Ma'am, how old were you?
Yeah,
old are you?
I think so. I think like what they were implying with like their whole relationship, like again, it's that thing where it's like context would probably
Yeah.
make it all make sense, but without context, it's a little.
It's like,
It's
she could be like, I was just 18 years old. Oh, okay. I was just a young
okay.
girl. Ooh.
or if it was like I was 17 and you were 19, but like you were living with me because my dad was your mentor dad, and like you'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, the age difference is weird, but like I guess you put two people in that situation.
What? I wonder what their age difference is supposed to be.
Yeah, I
they
don't know.
looked-
I'm gonna look.
But yeah, look that up. I'm just curious.
I'm gonna
Like,
look it
was
up.
she? Was he like supposedly like 25 and she was 16? Mind
I'm
you,
gonna
it
give
was like
that
in
a
the
quick
30s. The concept, right? The
Koja.
movie takes place. The first one, Raiders, takes place, I think, in 1936. So I don't know if things were different back in 1936 like that.
Hang on, we're just gonna get their straight up birthdays because you
Considering.
know they exist. All right.
Oh, do we want to know? Is this gonna?
Well, it's not like
It's not
the
good.
worst, but it's definitely not what I was expecting. So Indiana Jones himself was born July 1st, 1899.
1899. Okay.
1899.
1899.
Marion Ravenwood was born March 1909.
So,
10 years.
So
18 and 28 acceptable. That's like the only one to me.
that's what-
Everything else is a little.
but I guess you could have a mentor at any age. So if he was like 28 with his mentor, they made it seem like he was in college. But I swear to
because
God,
he was a
couldn't.
post-grad. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's been studying. He's been in academia his whole life. So I guarantee you, he's had mentors through his whole career.
But they made it seem like he could have been like, let's say like 22, 23. And I don't want to minus 10 years and think about 13-year-old child. Wow, this is taking a turn, guys.
Hold on, I'm looking up. I'm just going into it.
Can we just agree that The Last Crusade's the best one? Can we agree to that? Can everyone agree to that? Please, anyone in the chat, let us know.
Last Crusade is absolutely the best one. But everybody, are you ready to have some mixed feelings about Dr. Henry Jones Jr.?
Oh, yeah, right. If we could just, we're just
Everyone.
one by one eliminating the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's just, we're just all right. So, Marion entered into a relationship with Indiana Jones during this time when she was 15, according to the novelization of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jones abruptly left the Ravenwoods. I was right, by the way, they were living together, that they were under the same roof. Jones abruptly left the Ravenwoods in 1926. Marion was about 16 or 17 when the relationship ended, and Jones was 27. 10 years her senior.
How old was, what's his name, Mutt, I think, in the movie? How old is he so when does she supposedly get pregnant by him? I'm worried.
When is Mutt Jones' birthday?
And what's the statute of limitations? When does that expire?
He was born in 1938, so
So
it was
much.
like right post Raiders.
Yeah, so yeah, 'cause Raiders was 1936. So, okay, so we're doing a lot of math here. We do math here at Retro Recall Podcast live.
So Indiana Jones had roughly one more year with Marion after Raiders, and then broke it off again.
Yeah. But at that age, she supposedly was of age, we're hoping, right? She was born, wait,
Well,
1909,
yeah,
1936?
yeah, yeah. She's in her 20s by the time Raiders is happening.
I just want to make sure, like, I just
He didn't impregnate a 15-year-old.
that's all I wanted.
Just
That's
he
all.
just dated one.
Because,
And
like I said,
all we know is that they entered into a relationship, and if this is by the 1900 standard, that very possibly just means courtship.
That's
as well.
true. That's true. That's true. I just
Which
like
is not as inappropriate, but still really inappropriate.
just like I said, one by one, we were just eliminating, which is a good movie. Wow.
Don't have heroes. Everyone sucks. Except for Mr. Rogers, Bob
Oh,
Ross, and
yes.
Steve Irwin. Those three, untouchable.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have to do a stream
Anyway.
about them. Just a happy stream with just good people.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
save that for like the darkest part of winter. We'll just do like a jolly month of like, hey, we're just going to talk about the people that made us happy
We
in
just
childhood.
Need that
Hey.
light.
Let's talk Big Bird.
Oh, Big Bird.
It's just Big Bird. We're just going to look at Big Bird
And we'll
pictures.
just throw pictures of Big Bird. Just you need that light at the end of a dark day.
Or
especially
how
in
about
winter.
instead we talk about big ants and how they devoured that commie.
That
commie
scene was
bug.
creepy. That I mean, I never really worried about ants like that before in my life, but I look at them different now. I look at them
Well,
different.
I remember when I was in elementary school, we watched a video about, I'm assuming it is this same kind of ant, but obviously not, they don't do what they did in this movie. That was exaggerated. But the film of them was of them eating an elephant, and it had been sped up to look really quick. And again, this is elementary school, so 7-year-old Dan thought that's all ants just need to swarm you for a few seconds
As well,
and
as
you're
well as-
gone.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
would believe that.
So that movie like stroked an old fear of mine, which like I can't give Steven Spielberg like credit. He doesn't know me, and so like it's not points for the movie. It's just like internal points for me.
Yeah,
Like that was a nice touch
He just-
for myself.
unlocked a fear,
Mhm.
fear
Yeah,
that you've long forgotten.
He grabbed that core memory right by the neck and said, "Look at it."
Oh my god!
By the way, everybody, I dropped a SurveyMonkey link
Yes.
in the chat. That is where you can definitively tell us what's the better film, Temple of Doom or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. For those of you who just joined, here's the link
Yeah, I
again.
was gonna say,
And one more time for good measure. And
let
one
us
more time.
know. Just bam, 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 bam.
Well, we took the chat off the side, so like
We did,
now
we
I don't
did.
feel bad spamming just a little bit.
That's true. I was like, yeah, we'll just have more screen space. Now I feel like we really could use chat kind of going up. But yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, I just want to get other people's opinions on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because
I want specifically Brother No's opinion. Brother No, I see your viewing.
I need somebody on my side that did not like the movie. Because again, the CGI, Shia LaBeouf swinging. Also, okay, hold on. Also in that scene, right?
Okay,
When
here we go.
Shia LaBeouf, he gets on the vehicle that Kate Blanchett's on, right?
Sure.
And he's like, doing this, and all the monkeys start attacking her. But they don't ever attack him. They start attacking her, and she gets distracted, and he's able to hop on the vehicle that Indy is on. And I found that funny because I'm like, did he make friends with the monkeys? Is he one with the monkeys now that they're all like, brother, don't worry, we'll take her out for you. Like, it was just,
Yes.
there's just so much about that scene that I was just like, huh,
he
okay. Okay.
bonded with the monkeys. I don't understand Ah, you've
Oh,
only seen Raiders? Oh, brother, no. This I view this as a failing of mine that I have not
I see. Brother No also is not invited to the
passed
marathon.
passed to you and said like you must watch every Indiana Jones film. That's like critical.
I don't know how long you've known each other, but at some point, apparently, Dan went to an Indiana Jones movie marathon before the fourth one, and apparently missed that T Shack. All right, let's see. I like the concept of Crystal Skull, but the poor effects and absolutely absurd scenarios took me out of the movie completely. Thank you, T Shack.
Well, so like I agree with you on the poor effects, right? Again, I made my point that like there were a lot more conventional than it looks like, but like obviously if that's what stands out, that means like the ones that were CGI were very bad. Like admittedly they were, and like they, like you said, Jen, they were pointless because like both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas have done better, had done
Yes.
better previously. And I'm
Recently.
not, no one is going to convince me that this movie didn't have a budget for it. Like this was not some indie flick that
Oh
they,
no.
well,
They
it,
had
it was an indie flick.
$180 million budget. And
How,
exactly,
how
we had a
much do you think they
hundred
spent on
and
that gopher?
eight. They're obsessed with the gopher because they had the beginning shot, the opening shot, right, where like the kids are like race us, and they're trying to race the USSR vehicle or the soldiers in that vehicle. So and they did a shot of the gophers. Then when Indy like escapes, they do another shot of the gophers, and I swear they did another shot around the nuclear scene. I'm like, enough of the gophers. We're obsessed with
Yeah,
the
they,
gophers.
it's like they wanted the audience to align with the gopher's point of view, and like it wasn't gonna happen. I
Actually, maybe we need more gopher point of view. I don't hate that idea.
Maybe that's why Caddyshack is gold, is they hit the right balance of gopher point of view.
I don't think I've ever in my life turned on a film so quick in my life. Right? I completely
Yeah,
agree about the opening being a great action piece. It really was right up until the bomb goes off. Yeah,
actually, like
it was good. It's like, oh,
again, that's every action. Actually, no, no, no. That's not every action scene in the movie. That I think truly the majority of the action scenes in the movie were very well done. Specifically, I'll call out the car chase through the town, like that winds up in the library that like cuts through like that motorcycle race through the town. Like that
oh
was
god,
great.
yeah.
It felt very closed quarters while also being a car chase, which
Mm-hmm.
was really cool to me. The motorcycle chase through the jungle was really cool until the monkey scene, and also I wasn't a huge fan of the like fencing between cars.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
okay for a little bit, but then like it felt like one of them would have abandoned that approach because it clearly wasn't working.
Yeah, it just
Anyway,
was there nobody else on there that could just be like, yo, George Spielberg? Can I call you Spielberg? Um,
no, as we discussed in episode 1, clearly no one tells George Lucas no. Not even Spielberg.
somebody should. Okay, because that was God, that was horrible. Well, you know what? I think the other problem too was because I was reading about this was that I think George Lucas was so inspired by you disappeared.
Oh,
Oh, you're
my
back.
fault. I was turning on a. Sorry, apologies. I forgot how sensitive this green screen is when I don't have my green screen behind me.
It's just kind of funny. I looked down like, oh no, Dan. Um, this is for the chat then. No, yeah. Then I guess George Lucas was.
Oh, that worked. Thanks, Hat.
But he was like obsessed, I guess, with just like sci-fi B-rated movies, right? He wanted to
Hmm.
make it that like that, yeah, those B-rated sci-fi movies, like the aliens and stuff like that. And it's like, which I mean, I love the idea. I love goofy, campy sci-fi movies. Don't get me wrong, but you're an Indiana Jones movie. Maybe that would have been better as a separate type of film. But it's just like you made this so comical, but not in a good way, not in a funny, haha. I appreciate like a come on. I don't
I
know. That's
would,
how I
I,
felt. That's how I felt.
I would argue that like realistically. So first off, I know that they're technically not aliens; they're interdimensional beings, but let's just call them aliens for the sake of this conversation, because like, come on.
Yeah.
Um, I know aliens are they feel taboo in Indiana Jones, but like I appreciated that it wasn't just that there were aliens, it was aliens but based in that mythos of like what if it was aliens that like really birthed humanity, like what if
Mm-hmm.
it really was aliens that gave humanity that chance to rise above the ashes, that which is obviously like a myth, it is a held belief in certain parts of the world, and by people that we often uh, don't necessarily take seriously on the subject, but but that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't fit in with like, I mean, again, the Ark of the Covenant is the Ten Commandments that Moses brought down that had been
Mm-hmm.
carved by God and were now shattered into dust in a box and could melt faces. The
Yeah,
Holy
that makes
Grail,
sense. Yeah.
the Holy Grail that Jesus had his last cup of wine from before getting crucified.
Yeah.
The stones that when you chant, apparently get superheated and also give you prosperity. It was really
It all
unclear
makes
what the
sense.
stones did.
But aliens, there was a 700-year-old knight hanging out by the Grail. Absolutely believable.
Yeah,
Aliens?
aliens,
GTFO.
bridge too
GTFO.
far.
Well, I think that was also. This is where, again, I feel bad for Spielberg because I guess for years, George Lucas was obsessed with the concept of having aliens in an Indiana Jones movie. And Spielberg was like hesitant. Again, he also has done so many alien movies, right? He's directed a bunch, right? E.T., again, War of the Worlds, and, Encounters of the Third Kind, right? Close Encounters of the
Yeah,
Third Kind. So I
yeah.
think,
Spielberg's not shy around
yeah.
aliens.
But I think what I read too is something like because he was just coming off of actually War of the Worlds remake, the 2005, that he was kind of not wanting to do aliens, and that's why they kind of hinted over and over they're more like these like beings, not that's how George Lucas kind of really
Hmm.
focused on it not being aliens, but like, oh yeah, they're just like these beings. What are they? I don't know. We got to find out. And then, but it came off again. The CGI was terrible. The aliens, I feel like they could have just been done better. I don't know.
You know what I've always said.
Prettier. I don't know.
What got me was if, and by the way, T-Shock, I'm definitely going to read your comment in a
Yeah.
second because I really appreciate that as well. But what really got me was when the skulls start spinning, when it's that moment as they start like merging together, merging together, merging together.
That was cool.
If it had just been that, and you were seeing like Kate Blanchett's like head filling with information until it burst, but we never actually saw
Yeah.
the alien form lean forward and squint.
Gonna get you.
Like
Enough. No, no.
if it had just been the effect of the skulls
Yeah.
spinning, would have been perfect.
I agree with that.
They should have never shown the alien. That's what it was for me.
There's a little bit of an unknown concept with it doing that, which I think I agree. If you don't show the alien, it makes it more mysterious and frightening. But yes,
Yep.
T-Shack, what do we got here? Magic and powerful holy artifacts clearly exist in the indie world, so I appreciate them attempting to tackle the other side of the spectrum. Absolutely.
See, guys, this is all I came here to do was just soften opinions on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because, like, truthfully, I think it has been graded too harshly. I think it isn't great, but like, I think it is better than the prequels were for Star Wars. But
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is like
Another chat.
if you fully rewatch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and go into it not thinking like, oh my god, another indie film, but instead think of it like, oh my god, a high budget episode of Adventures of Old Indiana Jones. Like that's because that's what it is. It's like an episode of Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. If anybody watched that show, which by the way,
Oh my
excellent
god.
show.
Yeah,
Excellent
I
show.
haven't seen that in years.
Ooh, we have a live
my
retro
goodness.
recall happening right now.
I know,
Jen, please walk us through this nostalgia you're feeling. I need to know, what are you feeling right now?
I feel like a kid sitting in my living room seeing it, and just I don't have exact picture, but
What do you see?
I
Tell me
see,
what you see.
I see a guy. He's holding a whip. No, no, he's hitting someone with it.
Uh,
Wait,
little side note, I one thing I really love about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I can't remember what the reference was, but they did make a reference to something that was specifically from an episode of Young Indiana Jones,
oh, they
thus canonizing that show.
that. Oh, okay. Well, I think I would have appreciated that if I recognized the show. So
It
yeah,
was on Netflix a few years ago. It probably is not still,
it needs to
actually.
be on
Now that I say
Amazon
that.
Prime.
Oh, watch party.
Watch party. See, let's see, T-Shack, what we got? I also like the idea of not even being able to mentally comprehend something like the aliens, right? So I agree that they shouldn't have actually shown the aliens. Absolutely, because like I said, kind of that mystery. If you don't know, it's scarier. If you can't see, that's what makes horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Super great when you don't actually see how it kills somebody or what it is. It makes it more terrifying. They should have kept that concept too, because
You
I
know
think that
what?
would have been more frightening.
Maybe I can
Alien.
recut. Maybe I can recut Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Maybe they do need to do that. Maybe they need to have a non George Lucas cut of the movie.
Well, think about it. Think about this. Think about this. If I first scene, all right, I have an idea of how to fix Nuketown without cutting Nuketown. I have a perfect idea. So we see him in the warehouse full of crates, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, we've got our Ark of the Covenant nod. What a great little fight. Ooh, fisticuffs. Cool. Then, as we make it look like he's exiting the facility, we'll just make a cut to him running into Nuketown. So it just looks like, oh, he escaped the facility, but where is he?
Yeah.
And then we'll start having the countdown. And instead of him rushing into a fridge, we'll have him looking around the house frantically and then it blacking out and have him somehow riding that rocket train with the Russian. And it'll look like that they are riding away from Nuketown as the nuke is going off.
And there you go. We don't have to refilm, just smart editing, right?
Shia gets knocked into the vines, right? And the monkeys are all around him, but we then cut the film to make it look like the Jeeps do a U-turn and Shia just drops back into the Jeep. He doesn't swing anywhere. We just make it look like they go back around.
How do we show his bond that he developed with the monkeys?
We don't. We cut that entirely.
Or we just,
Yeah.
or we just, the monkeys decided to get to Kate Blanchett first. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe we can cut Shia. I think we might be able to cut Mutt altogether.
Just the movie goes from here to there.
Which, you know what? I want to like Mutt. I want to like that character because I think he is written correctly, and I don't think Shia LaBeouf is a bad actor.
No, I think he's fine.
Yeah, he did great, and I think, like, truthfully, like, my God, one of my favorite Indiana Jones jokes, period, in all four films. I absolutely love that heel turn moment when he finds out that Mutt is his son, where earlier in the film he'd been like, hey man, if you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. You gotta live your life.
Yeah.
Don't listen to other people. And as soon as he finds out he's his son, you're going to college.
Yeah.
Because that to me was so like, that was Henry Jones. That was his dad, right? Like that was his dad coming through him. Like that was perfect. And that couldn't exist without Mutt. And like, yeah, I want him to exist, but there was something empty in that character. There was something unresolved about that character, and I genuinely can't place what that was.
I don't know.
Let's all sit in that silence and wonder what's wrong with Mutt Williams.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't focus too much on his character as much as they did the frickin' alien. I don't know. Because I mean, like I said, we like the actor. He did phenomenal, and I think maybe if he had more character development or just more something.
Yeah, I think you're onto something in that. I think we saw the tropes of Mutt. We always saw him through the lens of how Indy saw him, how Marion saw him, right? Like we saw Mutt as an extension of them. He never really did anything without them. He never existed without Indy at his side. We never saw Mutt like perfect example. I can shit on the racism in Temple of Doom and
Hmm.
like, the overdone short round accent and everything,
Yeah.
but short round as a character, we saw how he handles himself when he's
Hmm.
alone. And
Yeah.
he handles himself well. He was a sidekick who got thrown out on his own and kept pace. Um, we saw that Marcus Brody in Last Crusade did not keep pace when left on his own, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can present both options, but it felt like with Mutt, they just always kept him really like placed at his side, so he never had to be on
Yeah.
his own.
It was just, I mean, I feel like he was just kind of there, but then they, every once in a while, they had to seem like, oh, yeah, we got to make sure he's like Indy's kid. Have him swing. He just has that
Yeah, but
natural ability. He could just swing. Like,
have him swing. It makes him look like he knows how to use the whip already.
he's a, yeah, it's like a whip, but it's from a tree. It's like a tree whip.
This, the audiences are gonna love it. People love monkeys. Let me
Yeah.
tell you. You ever see that movie Dunstan Checks In? People love a
Lo-
good monkey movie.
Love it. Oh my god! But you know what I mean? I feel like there's just needed a little something more. But I feel like they kind of just threw it out at you occasionally. Like, oh, that's right. That's why you could tell he's Indy's son.
Yeah. Oh, T-Shock, I was going to say the same thing, actually. So I think because they played it like they were setting it up to be him carrying the mantle,
Hmm.
then at the end they were just like, JK, he's just like here now. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was that. It was like they were building him up as like a replacement for Indiana Jones, that we didn't want. Like, I don't want Switchblade Indy. Like, I
Yeah.
want my weapon gun Indy. Um, and so like it did feel like they were building that up, which of course made everyone feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So I wonder if rewatching it, maybe that's what it was for me, and why I ended up enjoying it more when I rewatched it was I wasn't worried about that anymore. I wasn't watching him and cringing. I was just going like, do your thing, new short round. Like,
I know Shia LaBeouf isn't going to be around for another movie, so let's do this.
no,
It's gonna say
which
film
I
and it
know
came out
they
film.
I know they announced 5, by the way, which
What?
I hope you saw.
I have not. I have no
Yep.
idea. Is
They
Chris Pratt still in there? Because I remember he was supposed to be.
Nope, it
They
is
completely.
Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's coming back. Short
Nice.
round is coming back as well.
Really?
Um, he was at D23 at least, so I have to assume he's coming back.
Hmm.
But this script has been worked on for a while, and it is much more Spielberg than it is Lucas. And if the rule if the rule holds from the original indie films, the odd films are always
Yeah.
bangers.
Yeah.
So
And
so here's hoping.
I feel bad because I feel like Spielberg knows there's a lot of hate, so I feel like there's a lot more pressure to make the fifth one like hands down phenomenal. Um, so because Shia was huge at the time, so it was very much like, oh yeah, that's how they will continue it now. Very true, and I really did think that's what they were gonna do. I really thought
Yeah.
they were making him the next one. But then I think
Shia
there's
Shia was he
he
was
was
very
in
big at the
everything.
time until do it, and then like everything kind of just
It went downhill.
hey, he'll make a cameo. Knowing him, he'll make a cameo in the 5th film.
Oh, do you think they're
They
gonna?
just better not have Indy divorced from Marion already. Like, I
like,
swear
I'll
to
hate
God,
the movie
if they
all-
do, if they do that, like, even I will not be able to defend
It's
it.
officially the
I won't
worst
be able
one
to. Hmm.
out of them all.
I need Marion to be in this film so that we can officially have a Marion Ravenwood trilogy. And I don't think
Oh.
that's unfair.
Have you decided to let Spielberg know this? Have you? Have you
I
called him
have
up?
I have often yelled it into the clouds, which I assume he hears.
Send a little carrier pigeon with a note.
I assume Spielberg has a mansion that he keeps in the sky. I assume most rich people live in the sky at
Hmm.
this point. It must be nice up there.
Yeah, that would be nice. Unless you fall out over your balcony and just.
I don't have a ceiling, so I'm actually just looking right up at them now.
Especially, well, since it looks like you're outside in a nice animatronic space setting with mushrooms.
No,
These
no, no, no. I
mushrooms? What
just
is
I
that?
did a lot of drugs before this stream.
Oh,
You guys
and we
can
all
actually.
can see it. Look at that.
I'm tripping so hard, you guys can see it now.
Oh, as long as it's you, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is all coming from me. These mushrooms are actually my nightmare. So I'm living in hell at the moment.
Well, Could be worse. You could be watching Crystal Skull again. Oh, okay. I'm done. I'm done hating on it. It's not that
all
bad.
you got is cheap zingers. That's all. All you brought to the table was cheap punches against a poor old man.
Were they cheap? I thought they were great. I'm expensive.
No, I think
kind of lady.
T-Shock was making the best points for your side of the argument, if I can be honest. I think T-Shock
you.
was carrying you through that discussion.
And I appreciate that. T-Shock's got my back. You got my back, and I appreciate that. Fist pump. That just looks like I went to go punch you.
You just punched T-Shock. Why would you do that? I just said he helped you. Or she. I realize. Sorry. I keep saying he, and I don't know why.
He.
They.
High five. No, just slap. All right. Look, I think I had a decent argument as far as the CGI. Again, it could have been better. Could have been better.
No. Again, well, actually, and I will give you.
Before?
I will concede this to you. I had never thought of it from the perspective of Steven Spielberg had literally just made Minority Report.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that, I was just like, oh yeah, no excuse on that CGI whatsoever. Because I could have excused it as early CGI. I could have excused it in my head just by not remembering the years clearly from years of brain damage.
And I know it's cheaper, I imagine, than building sets, but there is something to be said about having some more sets, not being so heavily CGI. And maybe if there is more of a mixture of sets infused with some CGI, but not focusing on everything about it. I think that to me was just the biggest distraction point. It's like I wanted to appreciate the plot, but it was so distracting. And of course, obviously, I know we beating a dead horse with this one, but again, the nuke scene with the fridge, it's just like, I need a little bit more, again, I need more believable, although there's been some crazy stuff in all the Indiana Jones movies, but that one is like, that's the one I draw the line. Throw an alien in front of my face, okay, sure. People's faces are melting, okay, fine. You pick the wrong goblet, you
age immediately.
And then turn into ash. But this is where I draw the line. A lead-lined fridge. That's it. And that is...
Well, wait, sorry. You know lead-lined fridge existed, right? I just need to make sure that's not the point you're making. You don't think that those didn't exist.
No, I mean, but going into one and surviving a nuclear blast, that's where I struggle. No, I believe those fridges exist. You could survive
the radiation. You would survive the radiation. It's lead. It's the ballistic impact.
Okay. You're in the fridge. Nuclear bomb goes off. The effect of the bomb at no point flew the door open at some point. Was he holding on the inside so tight that the door of the fridge just didn't fly open? He couldn't fly out. It stayed shut the entire time, so you could just tumble, and somehow didn't snap his neck.
Well, first off, you should look up those fridges because there were a lot of problems of people going into them and getting stuck and dying because they couldn't reopen the door because they were big lead boxes. Again, big lead boxes.
So, okay.
Second, at an impact of a big lead box, what would more likely happen is the heat would cause the lead to fuse the door shut, thus trapping Indy forever.
So that's what I'm saying. No matter what argument we try to make, it's just that... Obviously, the fridge was just not it.
Sure.
There's so many ways he should have been dead. He should have been dead.
There was another high-speed rail that took him out of Nuketown. Just pretend the fridge didn't happen, and it's a great film.
Because much like Cate Blanchett at the end, I am full of knowledge, and I cannot unsee it now.
Perfect. Well, hey, we've got about 4 minutes left. We should let everyone know about the weirdness that is the next 2 weeks because our schedule is going to be all funky wonky. So, guys, this is a first reminder to please follow, subscribe, everything on Twitch, which you can do right here. She's gonna throw some stuff up. Hold on.
Yeah, so if you follow us on Twitch, you'll mark it so you get the we're going live notifications. But we also have our YouTube, so in the future, if you miss our podcasts or if you just had so much fun tonight, you want to rewatch it, You can follow us or subscribe on our YouTube, and then on our Instagram, like we'll have our topic updates there, and then I think for the next 2 weeks we're gonna talk about like our schedule a little bit, so we'll post the updates on when we're gonna go live next there, so that way you can see that like on our stories and stuff. So if you follow, you can see that.
We're gonna stay pretty consistent to the Thursday night schedule. We're hoping to add some more maybe as we go. We're not looking to change the day. We just both happen to have a lot of junk happening in the next 2 weeks, which will make us inaccessible on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So that's the story of it all. But if you follow our Instagram, you'll see the memes and videos that we create. I'm gonna be completely honest. I know I make them as advertisements for the stream. I mainly make them just to make Jen laugh. So please just keep checking those out because that will also give you updates about what we will be talking about next, like she said.
Yeah. And actually, I forget what's next time. It's Spieltember still, so.
It's Spieltember, so like this is the question, and that's what we're gonna have to decide depending on when we jump in. Do we want to? My thought was we could just go big because it's going to probably close out Spieltember. I think that we should go with Universal Studios in general because that is like Spielberg land. Like that was his theme park.
Yeah, we could do that. I was going to maybe suggest that we can talk about how tips for Spielberg he could have done better for Crystal Skull using the stuff that he did from Minority Report, but everything Universal. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We can have or Land Before Time.
Tell me where back is.
I'm having a retro recall.
Oh my gosh, if Land Before Time, oh god, if that's on Amazon Prime, I don't think it is. We can do a watch party where I just cry hysterically. Yeah, that'll be a fun one to talk about. I mean, I think I'm going to be sobbing.
Which Land Before Time would we want to talk about of like the 85 that exist?
Obviously the first one, the one that, shaped us. The one that traumatized us.
It's on Stars. Stupid. But, I mean, you can buy it. We can rent it on Prime Video. Does that mean we can watch party it?
I think I don't think so. I think it has to be legit Prime, not rented, it said. So, that's fine.
Son of a gun.
Nobody needs to see me hysterically.
The only one.
I know. Oh, God.
Oh, We're Back. Oh, my God. I was talking about We're Back literally like a couple days ago. It's not as good as you remember. And, like, I promise.
We're Back.
Oh, we opened it, don't go through it.
We've got 60 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe
All
not.
right.
Oh, God, it's going to take me 60 seconds just to get...
Guys, we're going to update you with the subject. As you can see, we're always very prepared.
Okay.
Yep, see, she just found We're Back. And
the heck is this?
Look up the song, the Roll Back the Rock to the Dawn of Time and sing this song with me. Yeah, I have that song buried in my head for some reason, and it's John Goodman, so like I could always sing like John Goodman, so I always...
It's a great bad rewatch. Maybe it might be a great bad first watch. Because I don't recall...
Professor Screw Ice with his coke nail. You know what? I will rewatch it. I'm going to rewatch it. Because it was that I looked up a scene. I looked up the first scene where they transform him into the cartoonish one. I was like, oh god, this is terrible. I need to just rewatch the whole movie with the right expectations. But on that note, guys, we will update you with the topic, I promise, when we get our act together.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you everyone for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much for chatting with us. It was a good night. I think it was a good discussion. And I think it's safe to say Last Crusade, right? Last Crusade seems to be okay.
Wait. I forgot. We cannot close without giving the poll results.
Oh, yes. Let's do the poll results.
There are 4 votes in. 4 votes. That's it. But that's okay. Even? We'll take it. They are not split even. It is split 75-25. The winner is... Oh, my God. This screen is so bright. The winner is... Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom got 75% with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull taking 25. Sorry, I'm looking at the Ark of the Covenant right now, or I'm trying not to, rather. So I have to keep my hands... like this. It's working.
Ah, melts. Okay.
Well, I'm probably fine.
Well, that was pretty good. Okay. That was pretty
The
good.
Temple of Doom technically wins, I guess.
I will say this: that cart scene, the mine cart. I think
Yeah.
I did like that. I think because it reminded me of Minecart Carnage from Donkey Kong Country 1, and that's all little retro Jenny needed. That reminds me of Donkey Kong game. This movie's great.
I can talk about like that for ages because that scene was actually written for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they just couldn't use it. They couldn't find a way to use it, so they just recycled it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right.
Have a good night, T-Shock.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. As soon as I'll get the ending screen on. Just keep waving.
I'm just waving. Don't worry, I'm a Disney animatronic.
Just keep smiling and waving. Bye-bye.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the best. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the best. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the best. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the best.